What just happened in Mali is not just another security update. It may be one of the most important signals about where the country is heading next. Because after the coordinated attacks of April 25th, President Assimi Goïta didn't just respond. He made a move that could shape the future of Mali's security strategy. He introduced 16 strategic directions, and that number alone tells you something. This was not a reaction, this was planning. Just days after the attacks, a high-level meeting was held. The National Defense Council gathered, top officials were present, the Prime Minister, security leaders, military command. This was a full system response, not just a single decision, but a coordinated evaluation of the situation. And what came out of that meeting was not just an update, it was a structured plan, 16 strategic directions designed to strengthen the country's defense and security system. Now, we don't yet have every detail of those 16 points, but the message behind them is already clear. Mali is not just reacting to threats, it is reorganizing how it responds to them. Now let's step back for a moment. Because the attacks themselves were significant, they were described as coordinated and carefully prepared. Multiple locations were targeted at the same time with clear strategic intent. This was not random. It was designed to create pressure across the system. But according to officials, the response changed the outcome. Security forces acted quickly. The attacks were contained, and significant losses were reportedly inflicted on the attackers before they withdrew. Now that matters because it shows that the system held. But more importantly, it shows that the system is now being reviewed and strengthened. And that is where this story becomes bigger. Because after a major test comes adjustment. And adjustment is where long-term change happens. Now here's another key detail. The government emphasized that the situation remains under control across the country. But they also highlighted something else, the role of the population. Because intelligence sharing from civilians played a part, and that is important. Because modern security is not just military, it is collective. It depends on awareness, on communication, on cooperation between people and institutions. Now think about what that means. It means that security is no longer only about force. It is also about networks, about information, about coordination at every level. And that brings us back to the 16 strategic directions. Because even without knowing each one, we can understand what they represent. They represent structure. They represent planning. They represent a shift from reaction to strategy. Now let's talk about leadership. Because in moments like this, leadership is not only about responding, it is about setting direction. And that is exactly what this move does. It sets direction. Instead of focusing only on what happened, it focuses on what comes next, how to strengthen the system, how to prevent future attacks, how to improve coordination. And that tells us something important, that this moment is not being treated as an isolated event. It is being treated as part of a larger process, a process of adaptation, a process of strengthening, a process of long-term positioning. Now, there is also a human dimension to this story, because during this moment, tributes were paid, condolences were expressed, lives were lost, and behind every strategic discussion, there are real people affected, families, communities, individuals who carry the impact of these events. And recognizing that is part of maintaining unity, because unity becomes critical in moments like this, which is why the government also called for calm, for vigilance, and for national cohesion. They urged citizens to rely on official sources, to avoid misinformation, to stay grounded. And that message is not small, because in today's world, information itself can shape outcomes. Rumors can create panic. Misinformation can weaken response, and clarity becomes a tool of stability. Now let's zoom out. because this is not just about one meeting or one set of decisions. This is about a broader shift, a shift toward structured security, a shift toward long-term planning, a shift toward reinforcing systems after pressure. And in regions like the Sahel, that kind of shift matters because challenges are ongoing, they are evolving, and they require responses that evolve as well. So what we are seeing here is not just a reaction to an attack, it is a step in a larger direction, a direction that focuses on strengthening capacity, improving coordination, and maintaining control under pressure. And that brings us to the key takeaway. This was not just about what happened, it was about what comes after. Because moments like this test systems, but they also reveal them. They show how they respond, how they adapt, and how they prepare for what's next. And in this case, what we are seeing is a move toward structure, toward planning, toward strategy. And that may be the most important part of this entire story. If Africa's story matters to you, take a moment to like this video so more people can see it. Subscribe to Voice of Africa for clear, balanced, and in-depth analysis. And tell me in the comments, do you think this shows a stronger system or a system under pressure? Because sometimes it can be both at the same time.